I don't know what we're going to do with all those Windows updates. I just restarted everything when I came in this morning before we got into it, and now I'm getting another message. So who knows what these guys are doing in the background? You kind of hope it's for our good. But anyway, Nehemiah chapter 5 is where we left off yesterday. We had a problem. It's time to begin to set things in order. It's time to see how we're going to put the unjust and put him into line. And the line that we're talking about is we're talking about the people, the Jewish nobles and the leaders who were taking advantage of their own by lending them money and them not able to pay it back because of the interest. And this is really where the problem came, was in the interest, and then seizing their property. And if you read or if you listen to yesterday's program, we've uploaded all of these to YouTube, and you see where we were. You see what the real problem is, okay? And there was a rule in the Mosaic covenant, the covenant that Moses had been given by God for the children of Israel in the wilderness, concerning charging interest to their brothers. And, we've built the wall. Well, not finished the wall, but the walls are going real well. We're almost finished. We've pushed back the enemy with the outside problem. We're really taking care of Sanballat. But now there's the inside problem. And a lot of people are suffering because of this undue interest, illegal, unjust interest that has been charged unto a people that cannot pay it back. They're not able to pay. So they've been losing not only their properties, not only their houses, not only their properties. The lower 40s have gone, but even their children themselves have been sold into slavery because of this situation. And Nehemiah finds out about it. He's been probably a pretty busy guy since he got there, and he got onto his donkey for the first time and gave a little cruise around Jerusalem to find out how bad it was. And then he got the leaders together, and then they began to work. And then he has to worry about, pressure from the outside, from Sanballat and his buddies. And all of a sudden, as the work is really progressing and getting ready to tie it up, it's like a shoe. All it had to do was be laced and things. But now we find that there's problems inside, and the people have mortgaged their future. And Nehemiah hears about it, and he takes a little time. He says, let me think about this for a little while. Okay. And then I'm going to talk to the nobles and the rulers, and that's when verse 7 comes into play. Nehemiah 5:7, it says, "After serious thought, I rebuked the nobles and rulers and said to them, each of you is exacting usury from his brother." And if you're not sure about the whole charging of interest, Jew to Jew, you can look at it in Deuteronomy chapter 23, verse 19 and 20 is one place that you can find. You shall not charge interest to your brother, interest on money or food or anything that is lent out at interest. Okay. Exodus chapter 22. This is not just an isolated one sentence. It's in a couple of places. So let everything be established in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses. And Exodus says, if you lend money to any of my people who are poor among you, you shall not be like a money lender to him. You shall not charge him interest. Now, they were violating that rule that God had given to Moses for the people. Okay? So, After serious thought, now to verse 7, I rebuked the nobles and rulers and said to them, each of you is exacting usury from his brother. So I called a great assembly against them. And I said to them, according to our ability, we have redeemed our Jewish brethren who were sold to the nations. Now indeed, will you even sell your brethren? Or should they be sold to us? Then they were silenced and found nothing to say. So, you can see their heads hanging down. There they are in the middle of this great assembly, and their heads are hanging down, just a little embarrassed about what they've been doing. The gravy train has come to a halt. It was good, but and Nehemiah, he's going to set things in order. I really respect this whole theme of divine order and God putting things in divine order. That's all it is. It's all this, yes, there's a rebuke. Yes, there's a issue, problem, blah, blah, that goes along with it. Yes, it was unjust. But all it is a call into the straight and narrow. This isn't, get out of here, you guys, you're worth. No, come on. Let's get from where we are and to where God wants us to be. It's just a little alignment situation. Okay, not so little, but it's an opportunity. Verse 9, then Nehemiah said, what you are doing is not good. Should you not walk in the fear of our God because of the reproach of the nations, our enemies? He says, look, this is a black mark against the people of covenant. Well, what are the people outside going to look at? How they take advantage of one another. Look at how they treat one another. What do I want anything to do with who they are and what they're doing? It was a bad testimony. Not only was it destructive to the less fortunate in Israel, but it was a bad testimony. He says, what do you want us to do? We're spending our money to bring people back in to make, what do they call it, aliyah, or, aliyah, ayila, bring them back into the land, bring them back high up to where they belong from being foreigners now to come back to their home country of Israel. He says, and now you want us to do the same thing for your people? Oh yeah, let me pay them back. No. He says, you've done wrong. What you're doing is not good. Verse 10, he says, I also, with my brethren and my servants, and lending them money and grain, please let us stop this usury. He's just, he doesn't probably been so busy, doesn't understand why he's having to lend them so much money, why he's having to keep on giving them grain over again, and then all of a sudden it probably, boom, the light bulb goes on, and it makes sense. And he says, I also, with my brethren and my servants, am lending them money and grain. Let us stop this usury. He says, now's the time for change. Let's get this thing back into line. How does God restore now to them, even this day, their lands, their vineyards, their olive groves, and their houses? What do I see going on here? I see somewhat, and I don't know the times and the years, and I don't know if this is even legal in the Mosaic system. I see Mr. Nehemiah saying, you know what? What a perfect time for a jubilee. We haven't had a jubilee. We've missed jubilee. In fact, the reason that they went into captivity was because they had never observed jubilee. We'll talk about that in a little while more, about jubilee and what it's all about.